This is a part of the homepage for laurendeservesbetter.com. In this section, we highlight some of the more egregious events that occurred. She said 16 major unusual incidents. And again, those are ones that, when they occur, they require the local county to investigate, see what happened, all that kind of thing. And it's an interesting process to try, and trying to get information can sometimes be interesting. When you get a call, a lot of times you'll get notified from the facility, but it's always kind of minimalized, shaded a touch, the kind of thing where the calls all start with Lauren's fine, but we wanted to let you know, and then they go on from there. And in a couple instances, we found out later, much later, that incidents that were conveyed to us were a little more significant than what was originally told. But on here, we have some of the key ones that stand out. If you look elsewhere on our homepage and on a page we have regarding the throat slashing, Lauren had her throat cut. You'll have to read the police report to see some of the details on that. I'm not really going to discuss them here at this time, but she didn't do it to herself. Other residents in the home didn't do it. By the time people were investigating this, it was difficult to find any evidence of blood, and it was fairly significant. The paramedics recorded the cut to be 4 inches long, gapped open about an inch and a half. It took 12 stitches to seal it back up. She's also been left on hot transport buses, and this occurred not once but twice that we know of. The first time it ever happened occurred on the hottest day of 2011. The temperature outside during that time of day, and it was for the most part morning to around noon. The temperature was never under 90 degrees, and the heat index for that day was over 100. She was left inside a bus, windows rolled up, doors closed, sun's out, it's hot. By the time they found her, she was fully drenched in sweat, had an elevated body temperature, and was not ill at the time. So she didn't have a temperature because she had any sort of illness. She had an inflated temperature because she was hot. So that was interesting. So then they put in a new protocol to make sure that doesn't happen again. And they decided to take attendance in the morning when the buses first got there and make sure everybody was there and make sure everybody was off the bus. Okay, sounds good. Fast forward several years, and she was left on the bus again, this time for 5 hours. And this time, the driver of the bus was the person running the facility and the person who was supposed to make sure that everybody else followed the protocol that was established the first time she got left on the bus. Interestingly enough, the paperwork, the investigation, the video that exists for that does not exactly line up with how it was first reported as far as time involved and the condition of the bus. It was stated that the bus was open, there was air available, it was about 3 hours and so on. And come to find out that the bus was closed up and it was 5 hours. So that's just 2 times that we know of that she's been left on hot transport buses. And then there was the time when she just flat walked out of the facility where she was. It was in December. She was in her wheelchair, and she was like a little Houdini. She didn't really like to stay in her wheelchair, didn't need her wheelchair. We always fought to get her out of it, but she slithered out of her wheelchair and she made it out the back door to the facility. And from there, walked down a ramp, across a parking lot, across a field, across a street, until they finally found her, caught up with her. She was in the gutter of the street. Now, again, this was in December in the Midwest. She was dressed for indoors, had lightweight clothing on, and socks, but no shoes. They're not exactly sure how long she was gone, but they do know that they searched for her for about a half an hour once they found her missing. When they got her back in to the facility, the solution to make sure that didn't happen again was to put an abductor in between her legs on her wheelchair. Now, she just proved that she didn't need a wheelchair at all, but they used the wheelchair to immobilize her, and after she got out of it, they made it a little bit more difficult for her to do so. So that's just another challenge along the way, trying to get people to do things in a humane process. And then the other one that's on here is Lauren is G-tube fed, and it's pretty simple to follow what goes in and keep an eye on what comes out of her. At one point, though, she started to leak. She had food that was coming out of her surgical site at her stomach, and she was also having liquid come up out of her esophagus, out her mouth. She's not supposed to be able to do that. She had surgery a long time ago to make it to where that wasn't supposed to happen. She was hospitalized at that time. They pumped her stomach, and they pulled out 2 liters of fluid from a young lady who is about 4 feet 9 inches tall, weighs at any given time about 80 to 85 pounds, and they were able to pull out 2 liters of fluid. These are some of the incidents that she was lucky to survive. All of those she was lucky to survive when they happened. There are others that we'll cover that where she was hit, slapped, pinched, called names, just horrid stuff. It has really, truly been a nightmare over the past now almost 30 years. Thanks again for being here. It's LaurenDeservesBetter.com. Please check out our foundation page, because we're taking this life experience and we're trying to turn this into something where we can change the lives of Lauren and also improve the care for any individuals with IDD issues, and try to get them to where they can be taken care of by families first before we put them in facilities. Thanks for being here. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, there's ways to contact us, and we will see you on the next one.